Hello, this is a little demonstration of a problem related to calculating z-scores, plotting a graph, and determining percentiles, or actually in this case, probabilities. So we have the information that the SAT math test, which is a college entry exam, has a mean of 520 and a standard deviation of 150. For each individual, we have to do the following, and let's just start with A. Calculate the z-score using Excel. So what I'm going to do is, for me personally, I want to make sure and have everything laid out so that I can use the formula repeatedly. So I'm going to take the mu and write that down. And I'm going to write the standard deviation down too. I'll just write sigma. And I'm going to get these right out of the problem. So, oops, and I meant to put a parenthesis there. Okay, so the mu for this test is 520, and the standard deviation is 150. Now I have these numbers in a place where I can use them in a formula. So to calculate the z-score, I already know the formula. Z is, and what we have to do is figure out the deviation, x minus m, and divide by the standard deviation. Or in this case, since we're using population, it's going to be x minus mu divided by sigma, just meaning the population mean and standard deviation. So let's go ahead and get that formula in for the first person. Equals, we'll open our parentheses, 542 minus, I'm going to click in the cell instead of typing it out so I avoid the risk of typos as I go through this, put a closing parenthesis, and divide by standard deviation. So here's our formula. It's all appearing nicely up here, and we have the correct boxes. Here's the blue corresponding with person one. Here's the mean, and here's sigma. We'll hit enter right here. So the z-score for this person is 542. Does it make sense? It does, because the mean is 520, so it's just a little bit above the mean. Now, as you know, if we copy paste down this formula, we're going to get errors, because, as you know, Excel moves down sequentially. So, for example, when we look in this formula, you can see that it moves down correspondingly for the person, but also for the boxes where the mean and sigma should be. So we have to add that little, we have to get rid of this, and we have to add that $ in there to stabilize it. I want my formula to always subtract H10 when we're calculating the deviation, and always stay in row 11 when we're calculating sigma. I only want Excel to move down as we go through the students. To do so, I'm going to just put this $ right here before row 10. If I add that $ to my formula before the row, it stabilizes it. You can think of that S $ as like ST for stabilize. So the $ is going to stabilize the row, and I'll do it here too because I want it to stay in row 11 for sigma. The column doesn't matter because I'm not moving columns, so I don't need another $. Now I should be able to copy paste this formula. I can do this by using Control-C to copy it and paste it. I can use Control-V, or I can right-click and paste this FX button, which means it's just going to paste the formula. It'll keep my formatting. I'll do it that way first. I like that because it preserves the formatting. Another way we could do it would be to click in the cell we're interested in. Let me click off it right now. Click back in it. Let's get rid of this. I'll show you both ways. We could hover over that magic box in the lower right corner and double click. Whoopsie. And it'll do the very same thing. We can see all the z-scores. I'm going to go back though and preserve my formatting. So I'm just going to copy and highlight. Oops, let me just undo a second here. There we go. Copy and highlight the cells I want to paste it into and just paste the formula. You could also copy paste if you don't care about the formatting. All right, now we have to figure the P less. Next, we have to go to B. Actually, we have to plot it. We have to make sure it makes sense. So if we go down onto the chart, I can do this a really easy way because I have my pen, and I can see that the 0.15 is going to be right around here. And so that's one way that you can do it. So this is 1. Since there's Z plus 0.5. It's a little bit harder for you to do if you don't have this nice insert tool. So you can also do it, let's click off it for a second. You can also do it by just inserting a shape. It's under illustrations on my small screen. We can go to shape we can just grab a line and we can put it where it belongs. In this case, person 2 is minus 1.32. I know that's going to be between the 1 and the 2, so I can just create this line here. Can change the formatting if you want by right-clicking. I can make it red. Usually, maybe I'll keep it blue and I'll just make it a little bit fatter. It's not necessary. And if you want to go all the way, you can add the z-score. I think that's a helpful thing. It's like a double check on you. Once again, you go to Insert, Illustration, Shapes, and just grabbing a little text box, and we can add that z2 equals minus 1.32. So that's how we can do all of those. I can make it nice and then use copy paste in my future ones by grouping those together. So just a little bit of tech advice. I'm just going to go home and make this a subscript. So now we have a really nice looking way of displaying this. I can select it and group it. What I'm doing is I'm holding down the control key that allows me to select everything of interest, and I can group these together. Now I can just copy and paste these on for each one. So the next person has a z-score of 2.53. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to have that selected. I'm going to copy it using Control C, and I'm going to paste it. And now I can put this on the correct image, which is 2.53, almost way out here in the tail. And so 2.53. And I can continue doing that for each of these. And what this does is it helps you to know what the probability is and what tail you should go for. So let me just get this out of the way here so we can do a couple more people. So I'm just going to grab this again, this little thing that I've grouped up together. Grab the whole set there. Oopsie, there we go. I think we have everything. And now we can copy it. And I'm going to paste it down here by person 4. And it looks like that score is minus 0.77. It should be just to the right of the 1 right about here. Let's put this in, minus 0.77. Let's go on to the next person, person 5. I'm just going to copy paste, and here it is. I didn't even have to copy it again, just paste it. The next person is minus 2.88. We should be way in the left tail of the distribution for this, way almost over here. 2.88, far between the -2 and -3. We can change it. And person 6 is a 1.63. I'll just click over here for person 6 and hit paste. 1.63. No negative sign, so 1.63. And we can continue on, but I'll stop here. So what it's asking us to do next is once we do this for all of them, you can stop. We're asked to use the normal curve tool to determine the probability of getting a score more extreme than the given score and write our answer as p less than. So more extreme means further into the tail. So if our score is to the right of the mean, then we're going to figure out the tail on the right. And if our score is to the left, we're going to figure out the score on the left. So this is our region of interest. We're going to figure out the probability of getting a score in here. And so that's the area. For this one, person 2, we're going to be actually figuring out the probability of getting a score in the left tail because this score is to the left of the mean. We can see the percents here. We know that for our first person, our score is going to be almost 50%. Our odds for this person, we can see we have 2% in the tail, and then we have 14% coming next. So this is going to be something, at least 10%, I'd say. And continuing on, we can see over for person 3, we're just getting this teensy little proportion. This is going to be definitely a 0.0% of some sort. That's the idea. So let me put that tool away and let's get out the normal curve tool. So to get out the normal curve tool, all you need to do is go to our course page and go to the left menu under Tools and Resources. It'll take you to a module that's way at the end of our class. So if you just bear with it, these are all our tools. And we're using this very first one, the percentile calculator tool. once you click on it, this is what you get. And I'm going to just zoom back a little bit here. And as you know, I do have a separate little video. You can look at the next one to just learn how to use this tool. But in a nutshell, all you need to do is enter the z-score and then identify the correct percent. And so the z-score of 0.15, remember, we're looking for the percent being almost 50%. So getting that back up again, here's our applet. We have a 0.15 for the z-score. We have to hit the enter button. The enter key doesn't work. And then we scroll down here and look at the area. Here we're looking at the area to the right. And so we have almost 50%. As I said, we have 0.4404. We can just copy this once you choose the correct one and paste it in. And we have to add the p less than, so we're saying the probability of getting a score more extreme than 0.15 is 0.4404. I'm even going to get rid of the 0 because that's how it's done. So almost a 44% chance. Next, we're going to use that tool again. This time we're using when we need the area to the left of the cut point there. And we're going to enter the score of, I just have to look back at it here. It was minus 1.32, and we're looking at the area to the left. So let's do a minus 1.32, hit the enter key, and we're looking for, again, the tail, which is the smaller area, in this case, the area to the left. We said it was going to be, let's look at our diagram. Here we can see that if we go back to our chart, we can see that we're looking at something between 2% in this tail and 14%, which would be at that line. So we guessed around 10%. So we're going to write p is less than, and I'll just copy and paste that in, 0.0834. Next, we have the 2.53. Let's jump back and forth a little more quickly here. 2.53. We have a positive z-score, and we're looking for this tiny area in the tail. So it is the area to the right. I'm just going to copy and paste from the decimal point on because that's typically how it's written. And let's see, that number is making sense, so we didn't do anything wrong. So let's go ahead and write p is less than and paste that in. Again, this is how we do it in stats. And we'll do one more. I think the rest will be self-explanatory. So we have a minus 0.77. We're looking for a area over here. I didn't color it in. It's this area. See, it's the area to the left of the tail because it's a negative number. And somewhere around here is where we placed it. So we're looking for a number greater than 14%, maybe around 20% or something like that. Let's go ahead and enter the minus 0.77 into our tool. And here's our tool, minus 0.77. And I didn't get the answer because I used the enter key. Doesn't work in this app. We'll use the enter button. And we can see here that we're looking for this area to the left, the area to the more extreme. And so I'll just copy this. I guessed 20%, and this turned out to be 22%. So this is a good guess as well. Normally, we don't have that space. Normally, we do it like I'm doing it here with no space. So I'm going to eliminate it here. But I think you get the idea. That's how this problem is done. And I hope this little demo was helpful.